Pharmacist Ben?
That would be me.
Is it you? Live in flesh?
The one and only.
You know, it was fantastic meeting with you on Saturday. I think that was...
that little extra meeting we did. That was fun. That was really fun. We should do more of those. What do you say?
I think we need to. I think the people we had a good response. Not a ton of comments. So if you're watching this...
How many? Yeah, people don't like to comment for some reason. How many views?
I'd have to check, but it was close to 400 when I looked last, at least over 350.
All right.
And again, we didn't post it on Rumble, but I did post it on Rumble today.
Okay.
And by the way, we keep growing viewership on YouTube and Rumble, and we're just constantly growing and improving, and in large part to do with you and Becca and Ruth Ellen's efforts. We really appreciate having you as the excellent source that you are for us.
Thank you. I wish you'd pick it up a little bit, but that's okay. Ruth Ellen and Becca are doing all right.
Yeah, I gotta get my act together.
I wish you would pick it up a little.
But tonight we are gonna talk about a topic that I
near and dear.
Not near and dear, but really kind of gets in my, what do they say, in your craw? What's
that? Sticks in your craw.
Sticks in my, what's a
Whatever
craw?
That means. I don't know what a craw is. That's a good point.
Is that a technical term of craw?
Craw. I think it's like something you wear on your head or something.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do with all these people who ask us questions though on the mineral way?
We're gonna find a way to respond to them all.
Yeah, we got to come up with something here.
Yeah, we're gonna do.
Yes, sir.
When I go to like a Dwayne Reed or a CVS, we see tons of people buying isolated nutrients. So
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I myself have even suggested that people go and get some B1 in addition to what they may get in the Tangy Tangerine, or
I think you just hit the nail on the head. In addition to what they get in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. In addition, because I talk to people all the time, as you do too. When you ask them what they're on a little of this, a little of that. My friend told me about this. I read that on the internet. I saw this on social media. My doctor told me here, blah blah blah. And they're like just kind of quilting together a mosaic of different supplements. There's no overall strategy to it, and that's one of the reasons longevity is so valuable. If you're like we are, you study nutrition for many years, you could kind of put together your own strategy. But for most people who aren't studying nutrition, longevity does it for you. Just the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is this well-balanced, strategically formulated nutritional supplement that has just the right balance of specific nutrients and just the right amounts. Other than that, unless you really, really, really know what you're doing, you don't want to be taking a little of this and a little of that. Just because you heard somebody say take thiamine on a radio show and take ashwagandha on another radio show, and you heard some doctors say taking niacin is good for your heart, and then you heard that maybe chromium may be good for your diabetes, whatever. And you put together these supplements, and I talk to people, and they've got this mishmash, of different pills and different supplements. It's not going to work. You've got to have everything balanced. You've got to have everything in proportion. You got to kind of have a strategy when you're implementing a nutritional supplement program, which is difficult. And that's why longevity is so perfect for the vast majority of people. If you're an expert, go for it. Put together your own program. For the vast majority of people, it's just not worth the brain damage. We've done it for you. We've done it for you. It comes to your drop ship into your mailbox every 30 days. You don't have to think about it. It's perfect. Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Do you think the experts get it right?
The experts get what right?
Get their own nutritional programs right. The experts that don't, they're experts. They know nutrition, but they don't saturate with the 90. Do they get it right?
Saturating is the key thing right there. There's the RDAs, which what do we call the RDAs?
Ridiculously deficient allowance?
The ridiculous deprivation allowance. And I say that facetiously, but I really mean it in the sense that the RDAs, which is how everything is, which is a standard everything's measured against. You buy a supplement, unless it's a company like Longevity that really has an expertise in nutrition. When you buy a supplement at the vitamin store, the health food store, the drugstore, wherever you're buying it, it's based on RDAs. One time the RDA, half the RDA, double the RDA, that kind of thing. The RDA, it's very important to recognize, is not there for health. It's there for not disease. See the difference? It's there to prevent a disease, but that's not the same as health. That's so important because we in our minds assume it's there for health. You see what I'm saying? 100 milligrams of vitamin C is not enough to keep you healthy, but it's enough to keep you from getting scurvy. If your criteria for nutritional supplementation is, I just don't want to get scurvy, fine, follow the RDA. But if it's you want to be healthy and have great connective tissue and protect yourself from joint degeneration, arthritis, and osteoporosis, and wrinkles, and heart disease, and all the other adrenal issues, and all the other things that vitamin C is good for, you need 5,000 milligrams, not 500 milligrams, or you need 1,000 milligrams, not 100 milligrams. You need 5,000 milligrams. It's non-toxic. So saturation is really important when it comes to health. Mega RDA doses, for the most part. There's some nutrients, especially what they call the transition metals, you want to be a little bit more careful with. But the vitamins, go to town with. The fat-soluble vitamins, maybe not as much as the water-soluble vitamins, but you can still go crazy with vitamin A. The RDA on vitamin A is like 1,000, I think. I don't remember. It's 1,000 or 2,000 IU. You can take 20,000 or 10,000 or 5,000. You don't need to take it every day because it's fat soluble, so it gets stored. But you can take so much more, and you can be so much better off. So to me, mega dosing is, and this is one, by the way, this is one of Dr. Wallach's ideas too, mega dosing. And not only because you want to, like we say, saturate the tissue with nutrients, but also because of a phenomenon called driving, pushing. When you have a lot on one side and not a lot on the other side, the law of diffusion says things will get pushed across. So by using high concentrations, you could push nutrients into cells, through the intestine, into the blood, into cells. So when it comes to water-soluble nutrients, that is most of your vitamins, well, the B complex and vitamin C, and your aminos, and some of the fat-soluble vitamins as well. Vitamin E, for example, the RDA on vitamin E is pathetic. It's like 20 IU. I've been taking 400 IU for 30 years, 40 years.
Okay, well, vitamin D is 15 micrograms.
Vitamin E. Vitamin D is a little bit different. And when you're taking vitamin D, you want to balance it with vitamin A and D. And actually, you want to balance all your fat-soluble vitamins together, which is yet another reason to use the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and the Mighty 90 essential nutrients that you get from Longevity. The fat-soluble vitamins you kind of want to take them in proportion with each other. And that's really just highlights the reason why you want a nutritional supplement program, not individual nutritional supplements, in my opinion.
Okay, so what is the difference
between?
We're just the title of tonight's show is Pharmacist Ben, Medications, Nutrition, and Complete Nutritional Saturation, the difference. So what's the difference between these very popular drugs and their effect on their what they're used for, and what we might think about using nutritionally, and then instead, and so we go from medications, and then someone says, "Oh, well, Pharmacist Ben says I can use vitamin D and calcium for my bones and joints, so I'm going to get that."
I don't like the whole this for that thing. About this for that. I'm not really fond of that, but just let's start. Give me a couple examples and see what we're at.
Okay, so number one, by revenue, I'm going to read 5 of them.
What do you mean by revenue? How much should we sell every year?
How much are sold in the year? Yes.
Okay.
Keytruda, this is for cancer, oncology.
Yeah.
Manjaro Zepbound. This is
These are the top 5 by revenue?
Selling in America. Yes.
By dollars.
By dollars.
Okay, because that's different, because the expensive drugs are going to be higher, right?
Volume, yes, I understand. Yeah. The most prescribed I could give you by volume.
Do the most prescribed.
Atorvastatin.
Atorvastatin.
Levothyroxine.
Okay.
Synthroid. Lisinopril.
Okay.
Metformin.
Yeah.
And take a guess on the last one.
What's that one? Mevacor? Lovastatin?
Amlodipine.
Amlodipine, that's right. Okay, I hear that one all the time. What do you think most of those are used for?
Okay, so I'm looking at them. They're I mean, according to what you might say, to help the blood. I mean, they're dealing with
basically
diabetes, blood pressure, thyroidism. I mean, that's the triangle. I mean, if I ever heard
it. Right? The triangle right there.
The triangle is the most. They're prescribing drugs.
The triangle. They got to look at they got to go to our website. It's all triangle.
It's absurd, actually.
Right.
So
they're not digestive. The first point on the triangle sometimes goes under the radar because it's the first point. People don't know they have a problem yet until they're at the second point. But the first point is where everything begins. So start again. You said it's atorvastatin, right? That was I'm sorry. Atorvastatin is a what? It's a statin, right?
Yes.
These are cholesterol reducing drugs. And they're part of the standards of care, meaning if doctor doesn't prescribe it, they can get in trouble. If you have elevated cholesterol, they can get in trouble. But here's the thing, and I know I've said it so many times, I almost don't even want to say it again. Elevated cholesterol is not the problem. The problem is what's causing the elevated cholesterol. If you have a bunch of cockroaches in your house, yeah, the cockroaches are a problem, but the job is to get rid of the garbage that the cockroaches are running around.
Clean the house, you dirty.
Clean the house. Exactly. You got this garbage pit for a house, right? You got watermelon rinds and pizza crusts and old hamburgers sitting around, and you got cockroach. You know what I'm talking about? And so what are you going to do? Spray for cockroaches? You get rid of the garbage, right? And that's what cholesterol is. Cholesterol is the cockroaches. But they're not even. It's not even fair. Cholesterol is a repair mechanism. Your body doesn't just make cholesterol. Why is cholesterol in the arteries? It just goes there, it sits there
from bleeding out.
It protects the vessels. So let's fix the vessels. Now, in fairness, the doctors say, well, people aren't going to fix the vessels, so we'll just stop the cholesterol, right? Say, okay, well, that makes sense. They're not. That's the doctor position. Oh, people aren't going to change the way they eat. They're not going to change their lifestyle. They're not going to. So we just give them the cholesterol, the anti-cholesterol medication. But the problem is, the anti-cholesterol medication shuts down chemistry. You can't just shut down chemistry in the body and not expect there to be ramifications. Even if you don't see them right away. And statin drugs there's worse drugs than the statin drugs. But you can't just extemporaneously from the outside just decide I'm going to shut down chemistry because I don't like what some of the chemistry is doing. That's not honoring the body. That's not respecting the body. And there's going to be a price to be paid. For example, coenzyme Q10 is very important for the heart. It's very important for these structures called mitochondria, right? You've heard of mitochondria. More and more we're hearing about mitochondria. People take methylene blue, for example, for the mitochondria. People take NAD, NADH, for NMN for the mitochondria. Well, coenzyme Q10 is the quintessential mitochondrial nutrient. Your heart are very mitochondrial, and heart cells are very mitochondria intensive because mitochondria are energy devices. And I don't want to get into how that happens because it's pretty amazing how that happens. But in any case, that's how energy is produced inside a cell. And some cells have maybe 1,000, 10,000 mitochondria within them. Heart cells are especially dependent on mitochondria because they're constantly moving. Well, coenzyme Q10 is vital for mitochondria, vital for heart health, and coenzyme Q10 is shut down by statin drugs. production is shut down. Coenzyme Q10 production is shut down by the same chemistry that shuts down cholesterol.
Well, Q10 requires cholesterol, or is it just happens to be
the pathway? Everything is made in the body is in a pathway. A gets turned to B, gets turned chemical A, we'll say, or molecule A, gets turned to molecule B, gets turned to molecule C and molecule D. They call these chemical pathways. The same chemical pathway that produces cholesterol produces coenzyme Q10. So when you shut down cholesterol production, you're also going to shut down coenzyme Q10 production. This is where muscle pain comes. That's where the whole muscle problem comes from. Coenzyme Q10 is vital for the heart. So you say, why are we doing this? Because there's a lot of money in cholesterol, anti-cholesterol drugs. Your doctor's not making the money. This is not the doctor's fault. It's the drug company's fault. And it's not the individual scientists either. It's the corporations.
How do you change the standard of care?
You don't. You have to go through. The drug companies own these. Standards of care and the whole medical, the institution of medicine is just that. It's an institution, right? Institutions are not there for individuals. The individual is always going to be pitted against the institution. Institutions don't have the same requirements as individuals. We're individuals. We care about our families. Institutions don't give a right. You ever have to deal with, anybody who's dealt with the VA knows. Have you ever had to go to the government to deal with your Social Security or deal with your Medicaid or Medicare or whatever? These are the institutions. There might be nice people there, but you call them up and they're grumpy and they don't know who you are and you got a number and they're institutions. People don't depend on institutions for something as important as health. There's going to be, it can't work because institutions are there for themselves and the benefits that you will get will just be as a byproduct. You may get some benefits, but only be as a byproduct. Take care of your own health. You're an individual. So atorvastatin is it's a statin drug, atorvastatin. It reduces LDL and lipoprotein A and cholesterol, etc. And that's all sounds great. But if you dive deeper, you'll see that you're shutting down chemistry in order to accomplish this goal. That's not a good idea. Lisinopril is the second drug. I think you said lisinopril is the second drug?
Third one, yeah. Lisinopril is in there.
Lisinopril is they call it an ACE inhibitor. An ACE inhibitor shuts down. It's an inhibitor. You always have inhibitors, suppressors, inhibitors, blockers. That alone tells you got a problem. That alone tells you got a problem. You're inhibiting, you're suppressing, you're blocking.
You're Darth Vader in your body.
Yes, you're shutting things down. Who the heck are you to shut down things in this incredible multi-million-year-old body that knows exactly what to do? Because you don't like the body's response to we don't like how exactly. So we shut the body down, basically. So an ACE inhibitor, ACE stands for angiotensin converting enzyme. An ACE inhibitor forces blood vessels to open up. Blood pressure drops. It also lowers it suppresses the production of a steroid hormone called aldosterone, which you may have heard of. Aldosterone is along the same lines as the other steroid hormones made in the adrenal glands, and it causes the body to retain less sodium. And it does it by changing chemistry at the level of the kidneys. So the simple version is lisinopril lowers blood pressure by blocking a hormone system. This hormone system squeezes blood vessels and holds on to salt or sodium, and by blocking it, the blood vessels open and you don't hold on to sodium. But you end up with elevated potassium, and your kidney function changes. And you can run into dry cough and dizziness and elevated potassium levels. There's all kinds of things that happen when you do these things. And these aren't the worst drugs in the world, but they're still drugs. They still are poisons. And the notion of using a poison to block to achieve a symptomatic benefit just doesn't make any sense from a healthcare perspective or a health perspective. Amlodipine. Now you're starting to get into some really nasty drugs. Lisinopril You know, it's not great, but
What about the levothyroxine?
I want to get to that last, the levothyroxine. Okay, that was the second or the third?
Second.
I want to get to that one last. Okay, amlodipine. That's a calcium channel blocker. So calcium, we've talked about calcium before. Calcium is an activator. You know, most people think about calcium, they think about the bones and the skeletal system and hardening. I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
common impression of calcium, right? Would you agree? Calcium is hardening. It's like
Yes.
your bones. That's not really calcium's main role. Yes, that's there, and it does do that for sure. Calcium's main role in the body, what makes it so darn important, possibly arguably the most important of all the elements. Arguably. Case can be made for, is calcium goes into cells and makes things happen. It's an activator, right? So what do you think a calcium channel blocker would do?
Make things stop.
Deactivate, right? Because you got a cell, there's an opening in the cell called a channel, right? Calcium goes into the channel, the calcium channel goes into the cell, makes things happen. In the case of the heart and the blood vessels, it makes them contract, it makes the heart beat. It makes things happen in the heart and the blood vessels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think happens when you block the calcium channel? Things don't happen, right? So the heart doesn't work as hard and the blood vessels open up. Less calcium enters into the blood vessels and the heart cells, right? So this is the logic. It's absurd, really, if you think about it. The logic is we're going to stop the heart from working. We're going to stop the blood vessels from being responsive and being able to open and close. It reduces the cardiac workload, is the logic. Now, if you have heart disease, the doctors will say, well, we don't want the heart working as hard, but it's your heart, you know? And at the end of the day, we're literally talking about poisoning your heart. That's not poetic. It's not semantic. It's not rhetorical. It's literal. You're poisoning the heart strategically, but you're poisoning the heart. Of course, the heart doesn't work as hard, and you've lowered your blood pressure. I say there's better ways to make your heart, you know, to improve heart functionality or heart cell functionality. Amlodipine, now you're starting to get into some nasty drugs. The first two, not as much, but amlodipine is a problem. What was the last one before the thyroid? Oh, metformin. Metformin. Good old metformin, right?
Good old glucophage.
Now, here's the thing about metformin. Because metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, is behind everything, right? It's the second point in the triangle of disease.
Okay.
When you take metformin and it forces your body to become, or your cells to become more sensitive to insulin, you'll have a lot of benefits, right? Because metabolic syndrome is everything. So once you correct insulin resistance, everything upstream from metabolic syndrome is going to improve. You're going to improve cardiac functioning, you're going to improve pancreas functioning, you'll have weight loss, you'll have less skin problems, improved longevity, etc. So it looks great, right? Sounds great. I don't take metformin. Because you're taking a drug. It's nothing your body recognizes. Your body is being poisoned in order to achieve these so-called benefits. So in the long run, you now put a toxic load on the body simply because you don't want to change the way your lifestyle. These are lifestyle issues. So it's hard to argue about metformin when you say they have all these benefits, but you're still taking a poison to achieve it. So in the long run, it's going to shorten your life. In the long run, it's going to put a toxic load on your body. In the long run, it's going to drain nutritional resources. In the long run, it's going to cost you. It's going to allow you to do the same things that caused the problem in the first place, except now you're not going to see it. So you're still going to be eating the high calories. You're still going to be eating the sugar. You're still going to be dealing with the toxic load or the dysfunctional biochemical impact of whatever you're doing from a lifestyle perspective, except now your symptoms are going to change. Now you're going to see that you have improved symptoms. Now, in the long run, you're not even going to have improved symptoms because your body will adjust to it. And that's what one of the problems with drugs is your body gets used to it. Levothyroxine is I want to talk about that last because that one is just amazing to me. That's the third point on the triangle of disease. Levothyroxine is a drug that they give you, a hormone that they give you when you have Hashimoto's thyroiditis or some kind of hypothyroid issue. It doesn't affect the gland. The thyroid is still messed up. It just gives you the hormone that the gland's supposed to make. But levothyroxine is not even the strong hormone. Levothyroxine is considered to be the weak form of thyroid hormone. It has to get converted into a strong form of thyroid hormone. On top of that, because the thyroid hormone has to fluctuate depending on the environment, you get this steady state. Most people don't get great benefits from levothyroxine because you get these spikes. Instead of having fluctuations in response to your environment, you get a big spike when you take your levothyroxine, and then it drops. Another spike, and then it drops. Another spike, and then it drops. That's not how hormones are supposed to work. And so among pharmacists, we know levothyroxine is one of the most ineffective drugs you could take. Some people get energy benefits from it because it's like it energizes things, but that's not how your body's supposed to work. What is the real cause of hypothyroidism?
Dirty blood.
It's an autoimmune disease. Yeah, it's an autoimmune disease, first of all. Dirty blood, right? Adrenal issues, elevated cortisol. Chronically elevated cortisol will lower or suppress thyroid hormone. And of course, the first 2 points in the triangle of disease. Thyroid hormone is activated in the intestine. So, look, I'm not here to tell people to take drugs or not to take drugs or what to do, but just don't be deluded into thinking that prescription drugs are the solution. God's drugs are the solution. Nature's drugs, divine drugs, which we call the mighty 90 essential nutrients.
Okay, so components of what you just called God's drugs or the mighty 90 essential nutrients, components of those are sold in CVS and at Walgreens. And some people will go to the store because they saw NAD advertised on TikTok and they saw, they hear that they can get a calcium supplement for bone situations, or they can get some chromium even, they might think. But the ones that I see the most, interestingly enough, the most off-the-shelf sales are variations of magnesium.
There's a lot of magnesium, right?
People will not touch the magnesium citrate. They look for what's the other one? Magnesium
glycinate or bisglycinate.
Glycinate is the one that off the shelf.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Faster than you can imagine.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay,
glycinate is connected to glycine. Or glycinate is a glycine molecule connected to magnesium. You follow?
Mm-hmm.
Glycine is a fabulous amino acid. So when you take magnesium glycinate, you're getting glycine plus magnesium. It's a good way to get your magnesium. Glycine is really, really a nice amino. So you're getting magnesium and you're getting glycine. What were you going to say? What were you going to say? I take it you're going to say something different.
The way you're talking about it is like how people talk about boxing, like this is a sweet science. You're just getting.
What's that?
See your eyes.
I love glycine. I really do. I'm a fan of glycine.
But
very underappreciated. They used to tell you that it's not like, they used to say, oh, everybody gets enough glycine. Glycine is very important for making the body's most important substance. What is the body's most important substance? Connective tissue.
Okay.
Glycine is critical for the connective tissue. And it also is very important for the liver, for detoxification. So and also has brain health benefits. It's a calming neurotransmitter. So it's really, really nice. And it works hand in hand with magnesium. I'm a big fan of magnesium glycinate.
Okay.
Or bisglycinate now they have.
Okay. However, they're still doing fractionated. And
what is that? What do you mean by fraction? I don't know.
They're cherry picking.
Yeah.
As opposed to getting, what's the difference between, now you talked about it. If you're an expert, go to town. I don't think that there's any experts that can go to town and figure it out personally. But you seem to think that there are people out there who can.
I'll tell you what, I've been studying nutrition for 40 years, 45 years, and I still don't think I'm an expert. So I don't know how, there are biochemists out there and there's nutritional chemists out there, I suppose, people have PhDs in nutrition. I've been studying for a long time and I'm still learning. So I don't know how any layperson could consider themselves an expert. And that's why we have the Healthy Start Pack. Why brain damage it?
You know who I don't
Yeah.
see anymore who's talking a lot was this. You seem to think he was pretty good.
Who?
Maybe Gary something?
Gary Knoll? Gary
No.
Knoll?
Gary Knoll, I know personally. He's a good guy.
You know Gary Knoll?
Yeah, he used to have a store on 125th Street.
Really? In Harlem?
Yeah, right on
No kidding.
125th Street. Nobody would go in. And I walked in one day. I'm like, I'm a kid, not a kid, but I'm, young.
He had a health food store in Harlem?
On 125th Street.
That's considered Harlem,
It wasn't a health food store. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's a chiropractor. It was a chiropractor's
Is
office.
he? I don't know if he's a chiropractor. He might be. I don't know.
I think he's a chiropractor. And I walked in and I'm like, what do you do here? This is like kind of dark. He's like, my name's Gary Knoll.
That's interesting.
I got a radio show, and
Yeah. I didn't know he was a chiropractor, but yeah, that's interesting. So is that was like the hood, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's the hood, middle of the hood. He had Invite Health was his company. He had.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
But their supplements were very expensive, so they didn't last in a retail environment. But at any rate, but there was Gary Brecka is the guy I was thinking of.
I forgot about him.
Because he got caught up in some stuff, I think.
Did he?
And yeah, you don't see him talking anymore on YouTube like he used to. But he was somebody that you said was smart. I don't know but he always talked about fractionation. And one thing I remember him talking about most that stuck to me was he didn't like the non-methylated bees. He's like, you gotta have methylation.
That's a good point. Well, you can because people don't methylate. People have methylation issues. Methylated bees are like one step, save you a step. They're methylated. They're pre-methylated for you. So that's like that. Now you're starting to get into really kind of designer supplements, a little more exotic. For most people, the bees are fine. For most people, you're not going to methylation is not. It's not like an urgent thing to do. Although it is, it's not a bad idea to have pre-meth. Nobody would argue that methylations or pre-methylated vitamins are bad.
Mm-hmm. So I guess my point is, these influencers talk about individual nutrients, but we talk about the mighty 90.
Team. It's a team. They come as a team. They all work together. Magnesium works with vitamin D. Vitamin D works with vitamin A and vitamin E and vitamin K. Calcium works with magnesium. They all kind of work together. All the B's come as a complex. Thiamine works with niacin, and niacin works with pantothenic acid, and they all work with riboflavin. They kind of work together as a team. It defeats the purpose of nutritional of food-based food nutrition. In foods, everything kind of works together. Foods are always the best. Why are foods the best? Because everything kind of works together in a food. Foods are always the best. The problem is our foods are so corrupted from the soil upwards, and people cook and they process and they don't eat right, and they have added stress burdens and toxic burdens on their bodies. So it's hard to get everything you need from food, but food is really the best way to get your nutrition. There's no way a nutritional supplement program can duplicate food. And that's because of this kind of team-like nature that vitamins and minerals and aminos and fatty acids, the mighty 90 essential nutrients have. They kind of all work together. And that's how you want to think of it. And that's why what you're calling fractionated is so problematic.
Okay, but now, just my last point.
Yes.
When Dr. Wallach talked to people on the radio, he asked them their body weight. And if you're 100 pounds, you can get away with one healthy body start pack or a healthy brain and heart pack or a bone and joint pack. If you're 165 pounds and you have a problem, he's looking to tell you take 2 healthy body start packs. And what I'm getting out of this, and emerging what you say, is the fact that we need to super saturate the body with these nutrients.
Yes.
And the more weight,
I don't know about super saturate, but saturate.
But saturate. The more weight you have, the more fascia
the more it's going to take to
the
more it's going to take to saturate. That's true. The bigger you are, the more you're going to want. I don't like confusing it for people. Doc's not wrong. I just want to get people to get some supplements in their system first and foremost. Just get it in your body. For the most people, a standard, to kind of do the math on your body weight and how much to take seems a little bit more brain damage than you need for most people. He's not wrong, though. That's probably the best way to do it. Certainly, that's the way it's done with drugs.
Well, that's the way they do it in the animal world, right? If your cow is 500 pounds, you're going to get more.
Absolutely. Yes, that's true.
So, all right. So, I'm going to take some questions here. Dildong, what does Ben say about people with issues from oxalates in food? Should we avoid high oxalate foods? What do we do if we
the most important thing to do is work on your kidney health and your blood sugar. Oxalates are associated with metabolic syndrome. Oxalates in foods, they're probably not going to, if you have an oxalate problem, you might want to stay away from oxalates. But if you have an oxalate issue, think about it as a toxicity issue and a metabolic syndrome issue. It's not as simplistic as, I'm going to avoid oxalates in foods. You're making oxalate. That's where the problem is. It's not the oxalates that you're eating, it's the oxalates that you're making. And that's an issue of metabolic syndrome.
So let's do, Ben provides nutritional protocols. What would somebody who's got metabolic syndrome, or in this case, high oxalates?
That's good. I like that. I'm glad you asked that.
What would we do as a protocol?
Healthy blood sugar pack. Throw in your ultimate, if you want to do more, throw in the ultimate niacin, throw in FucoidZ, throw in ultimate MSM, throw in your ultimate selenium. These are all going to support your blood sugar system. And of course, stay away from the foods that spike your blood sugar.
If anybody's
the protocol for blood sugar issues, which oxalates are part of, is, what do you think? Healthy blood sugar pack.
Well, right. And that is, yes, the healthy blood sugar pack, which includes the sweeties. I think that you would tell people to add a selenium to that. I think that would be
ultimate niacin too. Ultimate niacin, I would add to that.
Ultimate niacin. I think, and if somebody's got a serious issue, they might add the glucogenics to that protocol. You're familiar with glucogenics?
No, I'm not. Tell me about the glucogenics.
Proline product. So just like it's one of the Proline products. It's just got more in it than the sweeties.
Okay. Treat yourself like the triangle of disease. If you want to just simplify, just treat yourself like it's the triangle of disease. Kidney stones, calcium oxalate stones, I should say, and uric acid stones for that matter. Metabolic syndrome. Insulin resistance, when you have metabolic syndrome and insulin resistance, your urine will become more acidic. That will promote stone formation, increase urinary oxalate. Obesity can increase oxalate production. The gut microbiome oxalates. Gut bacteria help degrade oxalates. Antibiotics, for example, will suppress certain bacteria that will lead to oxalate elevation oxalates. So treat it like a metabolic syndrome issue, an inflammatory issue. Don't focus on the metric, focus on the biochemistry. Does that make sense? You don't want to focus on the number, the functional. This is what functional medicine does. They focus on the numbers, the statistics. You want to focus on the context, not the content. The context is the background. The content is the stuff in the background. You know what I'm saying? It's the context. In the 19th century, there's a famous debate between this guy Claude Bouchamp and Louis Pasteur, right?
Really?
You ever hear this? You know the story?
No, I don't know the story.
Are you laughing because you do, or I don't know?
I'm laughing because Louis Pasteur is in the middle of a controversy. That's why I'm laughing.
Is he?
No, you're mentioning that he's debating in his day.
Yeah, Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur is the guy who came up with germ theory. He was a beer maker, and he noticed that there were creatures that were leading to fermentation and
pasteurization.
And he came up with a strategy for killing these pathogens, these microbes. called pasteurization, basically just heat, right? And now we have things are pasteurized, Louis Pasteur, pasteurized. But there was a great battle in the 19th century between him and another biochemist named Claude Bouchamp. And Claude Bouchamp said, no, it's not the microbes, it's the environment that's conducive to the microbes. He called it the terrain. He called it his theory, terrain theory. Do you know what I mean when I say terrain?
Yeah,
the ground, the environment. Yeah, the environment. And he said it's not the microbes, it's the environment that leads to the microbes. And they had this big battle. It was like this debate in the 19th century, and Louis Pasteur won. Why? Because you can monetize Louis Pasteur's theory. You can't monetize the terrain. Monetization came from killing the bacteria. You say, okay, we'll come up with ways to kill the bacteria instead of the terrain, which is your lifestyle. You can't monetize the terrain. The terrain is just your biochemistry. It's the background.
Hang on a second.
Yes,
but they pasteurize milk because they were expecting there to be microbes that are detrimental in the milk. How do you fix the terrain in the cow?
I'm talking about the body. I'm talking the body's terrain.
But you're not pasteurizing in the body, right?
No, you're not pasteurizing the body. You're killing bacteria in the body. Okay. You take antibiotics. You don't pasteurize.
I was actually literally going to their debate.
No, in their debate, they were talking about the body. They weren't talking about milk. They weren't talking about pasteurization. They were talking about how you get sick. Louis Pasteur said you get sick from germs. And this was a radical idea. They didn't have any idea in the middle of the 19th century that there were these little creatures. When Louis Pasteur started talking about these little creatures, they came up with this theory called germ theory, which I'm sure you've heard of. It's known as germ theory. It's the idea that germs, which are bacteria, cause problems. As it turns out, by the way, the vast majority of germs or bacteria are good for us. There's 5% or so of bacteria are the ones that cause all the problems. 95% of them are your friends, right? And the 5% of the bad guys are the ones that get, ruin the reputation. Yeah, most people, when they think of germs, they think of these evil, pathogenic creatures that are out to cause your demise. It's actually the opposite. Germs are in your microbiome making vitamins and detoxifying hormones and toxic chemicals. So germs are really your best friends. But in any case, when this idea came out, because humans, aren't necessarily scientists, there's this simple idea: boogeyman, bad guys, germs, evil, let's kill them. And then on top of that, when you kill germs, sometimes you get better. Sometimes you don't get sick. You don't get diseases. So it's very easy. And the pharmaceutical industry became this great champion part of the healthcare pantheon because they killed germs and they eliminated bacterial diseases. That was amazing. Babies would catch colds and they would die. It was very common for babies to die before antibiotics, right? And in World War I, that's when, that was kind of the great stimulus for the development of antibiotics. A lot of people died from infections. So now all of a sudden you got these antibiotics and no more infections and people survive. Who's going to argue about that? Who's going to argue about the benefits of drugs and antibiotics when you're saving lives like this? So what ended up happening is the pharmaceutical industry got championed because they were doing these wonderful things. Well, come to find out, bacteria mutate, they become resistant. And so you keep needing stronger and stronger antibiotics. There's problems. There's always going to be problems with these things, right? So now you have bacterial resistance. On top of that, because of the use of, and by the way, human antibiotics are just a fraction of the antibiotics are used. Most antibiotics are used for agriculture, right? And so we're all, even if you're not taking antibiotics, it's in the milk, it's in the meat, it's in the fish, it's in the produce, it's everywhere. It's in the water supply. So what ends up happening is you kill your microbiome. We don't have any idea how many of our health challenges are the end result of antibiotics and chlorine and fluoride that are killing our microbiome. There's no way to calculate that. But obviously it's got to have some kind of impact. So the point being, it sounded like a good thing. We're going to kill bacteria, but it's very simplistic to think that way. Claude Bouchamp said, no, it's the background, the environment that allows the bacteria to proliferate. That's the problem, but you can't monetize that. So he didn't end up being very popular. However, legend has it, on Louis Pasteur, when he was dying, he said,
Bouchamp was right.
Bouchamp was right. It is the terrain. That's the legend. I don't know if it actually happened, but that's the story.
Pharmacist Ben, we have one serious question here, and it's from our friend K Monet. I forget which sister that is. This is
okay. There's one gal, and I forgot her name too. I get them mixed up.
It's Kiana in Kenya.
Kiana and what?
This must be Kenya because I don't think
Kenya. No, the other gal, Kiana, I think is the one I talked to today.
Oh, you talked to her today?
I told her to come on the call because she had something interesting. She had I don't know. I don't want to talk out of school here, so she's comes on.
Let's go with her sister. This is Kenya. Oh, this is Kiana. I didn't know Kiana was married. You didn't tell me you were married. Okay, so her husband.
AJ, I talked to you. We tried to call you. We tried to call you. Kiana and I tried to call you. I wanted you on the phone.
Okay, well, her husband's father died of coronary artery disease.
Okay.
And her husband is concerned about his own risk.
Is her husband concerned about the risk because his dad had it?
He's being told it's hereditary, apparently.
It's not hereditary. It's not hereditary. It happens in families because families do the same things.
Eat the same
food, live the same lifestyle, have the same habits.
Probably.
But it's not like my father had it, so I'm going to automatically have it. So Kiana's husband has to do exactly what we always talk about. Deal with metabolic syndrome. On the one side of the triangle, digestive health. On the other side of the triangle, adrenal health and hypothyroidism. In the middle is metabolic syndrome. Okay. That means, and protocol-wise, we just talked about it, but just to repeat it, healthy blood sugar pack, not negotiable. Healthy blood sugar pack, non-negotiable. Then you could throw in some of these extra ones. I like the FucoidZ for blood sugar, Ultimate Selenium for blood sugar, Ultimate MSM for blood sugar, Ultimate Niacin for blood sugar. You mentioned one that comes from another company. I forgot what you said. What did you call it?
No, it's from Longevity. It's Glucogenics.
Glucogenics is another company. I know it's Longevity, but it's one of the
It's just a pro line. It's a Longevity pro line. Comes in a glass bottle.
Glucogenics. Ketogenic diet. Low calorie. Stay away from foods that spike your blood sugar, especially liquid foods. Not liquid foods, but liquids that spike your blood sugar are much worse than solid foods because liquids go right into the blood.
So no juice.
Fruit juice, Jamba juice, smoothies, even fruits you got to be careful of. Certainly soda pop. Anything liquid sugar is the worst because it goes right into the blood. That's the worst.
Do you still have Jamba juice in Colorado?
I don't see them around as much. Do you have them?
No, they're
you don't see them around.
They're defunct.
Are they defunct?
Jamba juice? So you can't.
But they made it sound like they were all healthy because before people understood that it was all sugar.
Yeah. Believe me, I thought it was fantastic. Okay, we have some serious questions here, and of course, they all come in close
at the end.
To the end. You're gonna speed through this one for Keely. When is it okay to take penicillin? Like when one has an infection in the mouth?
You don't want to mess around with an infection. You want it. I would mess around with an infection. I would take an antibiotic. I don't recommend anybody plays around with an infection. Mm-hmm. Now, you don't want to overuse your antibiotics because, like I said, there's bacterial resistance, and eventually bacteria will become resistant. But if you have an infection in your mouth, you don't want to mess around with it. I am not telling people not to take antibiotics if they have an infection. I hope nobody ever gets that idea. If you have an infection, you want those bacteria killed, in my opinion. I would not take an antibiotic. Oh, I'm not taking antibiotics because I don't believe in them. No. Now, when you do take an antibiotic, however, you want to make sure you're using probiotics, not with the antibiotic, obviously, but between antibiotics or after the antibiotics. Most of what we talk about is not about infection. We talk about lifestyle diseases, chronic degenerative diseases, non-communicable diseases. There's various terms for them. These are things where the body just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It degenerates. This has to be distinguished from trauma and infection. Trauma is when you get hit on the head. Infection is when you have a bacterial attack. Both of those are reasons to use the medical model.
Okay.
Make sense? Yeah. I don't want to be out there telling people not to take antibiotics. If you have an infection, you take, especially in your mouth. There's a lot of literature that talks about heart disease being associated with toxicity in the blood from cuts in the mouth and surgical procedure. oral surgery. I would not mess around with it if I had an infection. I'm taking an antibiotic, and I suggest everybody does.
Pharmacist Ben, since we're talking about the mouth, we have our friend Cheryl from Brooklyn. She asked me to ask you, since you say everything is connected in the body, how does her gold capped tooth affect her body?
Well, all the organs are connected in the body. If you stick a gold capped tooth in there, that's not an organ of the body. However, that being said, gold is a metal. It's going to leach out. I don't know if gold doesn't leach out as much as other metals do, probably, but something's going to leach out eventually, and you're going to have gold in your body. And it's not gold. Probably it's a gold alloy. There's probably other things in the gold, I assume. Maybe it's gold. I don't know. I don't know much about gold caps. When I say everything's connected in the body, I don't mean if you wear a hat that's going to affect your liver. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how your liver is connected to your pancreas, is connected to your stomach, connected to your intestine. I'm not talking about your necktie being connected to your prostate. That's not the same thing.
Understood. I'm going to go quick here because we do have a couple serious questions here. What does Ben think of cacao?
It's awesome, but you don't like cacao. Nobody likes cacao. It's bitter and it's nasty. And if you ever had baking chocolate, you would not want, go buy some baking chocolate.
Very bitter. I've had it. And I've also had 100% cacao chocolate bar.
Pure cacao?
Yeah.
It couldn't be a bar. It wouldn't be a bar. It would be a powder. It has to have something to bar it up. It has to have some fat or some salt.
It says 100%.
It's made. You got to be a sharp reader. It's made with 100% cacao. Okay, that doesn't mean it is 100%. Cacao is a powder. It can't be a bar.
The Lindt bars, they go 75, they go 95%.
It has to have something to bar it up. Cacao's not a bar. There's no bars on the cacao tree.
Maybe they put sticks in it.
No, they don't put sticks in it. Okay. It's got to have something, right?
Okay. What can somebody do for candida fungal overgrowth in the gut?
That is a hard one because candida and fungus live on death. They're very difficult to kill because they love death. Watch the movie Fantastic Fungi. They'll show you a picture of an old shoe in the forest, and this old shoe turns into a tree, basically, or a bush from fungus. Turns into like it turns into a living entity as the fungus eat the connective tissue. Shoes made of leather, so it eats the leather and it turns into this living entity. They thrive on dead things, so they're very difficult to kill. The best way to do it is to use nature's fungal enemies. What do you think nature's fungal enemies are? Bacteria. Bacteria and fungus live in this balance in the body. So why do you suppose fungus would overgrow?
Because you have less bacteria.
Exactly. Or bacteria, exactly. Or the wrong bacteria. So you want to treat that as the best way to treat fungal infections is as a bacterial issue, which of course means it's an intestinal issue. Yeah, so, probiotics and support bacterial health, fiber and that kind of thing. You got to be a little bit careful because it's not just bacteria, it's the right bacteria. You don't want to just willy-nilly be supporting bacteria. You want to make sure you have the right balance of bacteria. So
if you took your best guess, what longevity products would you suggest?
Nightly Essence.
We're not going to hold you to this one.
Nightly Essence, by far.
Nightly Essence.
And also the Ultimate Microbiome.
Mm-hmm. What about?
That's what I would do.
What about I-26?
I-26 does the opposite. It kills the bad bacteria. It's never going to hurt you, though, the I-26.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about the killer biotic, which has mushrooms in it?
That's not going to change your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about abundance of vitamin C or some other nutrient?
Absolutely. Mighty 90 essential nutrients. Absolutely. But you don't want to look at it like killing things. Now you're into the doctor model.
Foster the environment.
Yes.
For your body to take care of it.
Yes. You don't want, if you look at it like, how do I kill the fungus? Oh, colloidal silver, I kill the fungus. You're falling right into the trap of allopathy. You're into the Louis Pasteur model. How do I kill things? You want to set up the terrain so it's not conducive to fungal infections. There was a book that came out a long time ago, well, not a lot, in the 1970s. I guess that's a long time ago, by Dr. William Crook. Cool name for Dr. William Crook. He wrote a book called The Yeast Connection. And it was very famous in the 70s and 80s. And he gave a protocol for getting rid of yeast and fungus. Yeast are type of fungus, part of the fungal kingdom. And it was a low carbohydrate, low sugar diet. And whether it worked to kill fungus or whether it worked to change the terrain, that's arguable. Maybe it made the terrain less conducive to fungal infections. That's how I would see it. Get the book. It was very famous in the 80s and 90s. The Yeast Connection is called.
Yeah, where is Marilyn when you need her? All right. So what about this one?
Thick endometriosis, a thick endometrial lining,
yeah.
hyperproliferation. That you want to regard that as an estrogen issue. And again, look, it's the triangle of disease. I was talking to Kiana earlier today. Estrogen is an elevated estrogen, which is behind endometriosis and fibromyalgia and menstrual problems and dysmenorrhea and infertility and all the mess that estrogen represents. I don't want to say that estrogen is an important hormone, but excess estrogen, those need to be regarded as intestinal problems first and foremost, because there's bacteria in the intestine that are supposed to clear estrogen. Estrogen is supposed to be cleared through the intestine. When you have intestinal issues or dysbiosis, messed up gut bacteria, estrogen recirculates. And not only recirculates, but it recirculates in a more potent form. If you have a gallbladder problem, and a liver problem, and a bile problem, it's even worse. So you want to treat things like endometriosis. I guarantee you, is this person on the call?
She's on YouTube.
Guaranteed she's got digestive issues, 100%. Ask her, what kind of digestive issues do you have? Long-standing digestive issues, especially around fats and fat metabolism.
What type of protocol would you give Maria?
I-26, ultimate enzymes, ultimate microbiome, food diary, eliminate problem foods, anything for the digestive system, FucoidZ. Leaky gut is I would do that also, but first and foremost, digestive health, daily digest. Dr. R has liver cleanser, True to Life liver cleanse, anything for the digestive system and the gallbladder and bile. Maria, if you're on the call here, tell us about if you have digestive issues, digestive health issues. Do you have your gallbladder? Do you have a fatty liver? Where's the digestive problems? Is this her asking?
This is her asking, but sometimes there's a little delay.
Okay.
Maybe because we didn't.
I guarantee she does 100%, 100%.
She has to.
Not 99%, 100%. I'd like her to answer, but we don't have time. So if she's on the call, answer. Let us know.
Yeah, and folks, reach out to us at this number here, 855-949-3377, and we will answer your questions. Please reach out to us.
When are we going to do our Zoom call?
We're going to do a private Zoom call if folks are signed up for our newsletter, and they can do that. Sign up, and we will listen. If you're on the Critical Health News email list, if you're on the Mineral Way newsletter list, if you're on the Daily with Doc newsletter list, we will have a private Zoom call where we're doing nothing but answering your individual questions. So make sure that you sign up and get on the list. And this is Maria. She has diverticulitis, actually.
Okay.
Maria,
I said not 99%. I said 100%. I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but I just want you to see the connection. Nobody tells us. She'll go to the OBGYN. They're not even going to tell her about diverticulitis. They don't even know. What's diverticulitis? It's an intestinal issue.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have endometriosis. Do you know what endometriosis is? Heavy, thick, bloody menstrual cycles. Sometimes you get, it's a horrible condition. Sometimes you get bleeding from various tissues in the body. The nose, sometimes people get bleeding from the nose. You have the endometrial. Yes, I know I didn't know it was diverticulitis, but I knew there'd be intestinal issues. That's a colon problem. It's a bowel problem. They go together. People, that's the together. That's why I was saying this is a system.
Maria, you got to give us a call tomorrow or email us at questions@dailywithdoc.com.
Yes, we will help you
so that we can help you, because you don't have to do any of this on your own. Even though it's a personal lifestyle changes that you need to make, we can help guide you. And this is our email address here. Please email us at questions@dailywithdoc.com. There's our team. Ruth Ellen might answer you, or me, or Keely, or even Becca Dukes might even jump in there.
If you're so lucky.
If you are lucky, you might even get
Becca
an
Dukes,
email back from Becca Dukes or one of our team. Shirley mentions she likes the Flora FX, is fantastic. Dildong mentions that I-26, one of the 26 microbes is Candida, apparently.
One of the microbes that I-26 kills off is Candida. I didn't know that. Whoever Dildong, thank you. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and
I-26 is really a very interesting product. It's designed to kill. I didn't know it designed. I'm not 100% positive that. I'd have to check that. But if that's the case, I didn't know that.
Ruth Ellen will fact check that and have it ready for Friday.
Okay. All right, I gotta go. Thank you, AJ.
We all gotta go. Pharmacist Ben, thank you very much for everything that you do, and thank you for taking the extra time out on Saturday in particular. And we really appreciate and have great affection for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
bye, everybody.